I once was a runner-up in a beauty pageant. I can play 30 different musical instruments, and I am related to Edgar Allan Poe. My name is Brittany Sylvia, and today I would like to talk to you about deception. One of my 3 opening statements was false. Could you tell which one? How could you tell? Before I reveal if your intuition was correct, let me explain some of the various theories around deception detection. Today I'm going to talk to you about emotion-based deception detection, truth default theory, and interpersonal deception theory, and what this means for your interpersonal communications. Let's start with emotion-based deception detection. This type of interpersonal communication research was noted in the 60s by Dr. Paul Ekman, but he popularized it in the 90s. If you have ever watched the TV program Lie to Me, this show was based on Ekman's research and subsequent lie detection firm. Ekman's research predominantly focused on lies based in emotions. According to his article, Deception, Lying, and Demeanor, which was published in 1997 in the book States of Mind, American and Post-Soviet Perspectives on Contemporary Issues in Psychology, Ekman stated that lies fail for mainly 2 reasons: that the liar failed to adequately prepare, or because of the interference of emotions. Ekman argued that liars revealed their deceit through nonverbal feedback that happened as quickly as a fraction of a second. These subconscious facial expressions or body language he termed micro-expressions. These micro-expressions can range from a twitch of the lip, a flicker of doubt in the eyes, a momentary crinkle of the nose. Through these unintentional nonverbal communications, a liar reveals their true feelings about a situation, or their feelings about telling a lie, perhaps to conceal an emotion. However, it is important to understand that the micro-expressions studied by Dr. Ekman cannot be recognized and interpreted by an untrained individual. Ekman continued to note in his article that I cited previously that most observers asked to judge who was lying did little better than chance. Even members of the criminal justice community, such as the FBI, local police, or judges, as well as members of the mental health community. This type of high-stakes deception detection is usually only identifiable by trained professionals. So why is it that so many people believe that they can easily spot when someone is lying? Let me explain truth default theory for some answers. As we begin to look at these theories, it is important to understand 2 key concepts. The first is truth bias. According to one of the leading deception theorists, Tim Levine, in his study Base Rates, Deception Detection, and Deception Theory, A Reply to Burgoon, which was published in 2015 in the journal Human Communication Research, truth bias is the tendency of message receivers to believe that the message they are receiving is the truth. This bias toward truth over lies leads to the other key concept, the veracity effect. Levine goes on to explain that the veracity effect has to do with the accuracy in which a receiver can detect a truth or a lie. Because receivers are biased toward the truth, then when a sender tells more truths than lies, the receiver is more accurate in determining when a sender is being honest. So in contrast, the accuracy of the receiver diminishes as the sender tells more lies. The Park-Levine model is a module in the truth default theory, developed by Tim Levine and Hee-Sun Park, which derives from the veracity effects and predicts that the greater the ratio of truths to deception, the higher the accuracy. Under the Park-Levine model, if people believe they have a high accuracy to recognizing truth over deception, then they also believe that the opposite is true, that they have high accuracy in recognizing a lie over truth. The final theory, however, seems to contradict this. Judy Burgoon and David Bullard developed and published their theory, Interpersonal Deception Theory, in 2001 for the book Readings in Persuasion, Social Influence, and Compliance Gaining. This theory argues that receivers' truth bias is determined by their bias of the sender. If they believe the sender is an honest person, the receiver is less likely to recognize deception. And if they are suspicious of the sender, they are more accurate in determining when the sender is telling lies. An interesting thing to note in this study is that a moderate amount of suspicion led the receivers to be the least accurate in detecting deception. Burgoon's interpersonal deception theory goes on to argue that the more interactive a communication is, the more successful a sender becomes at being deceptive. Burgoon points out as a conversation progresses, a deceiver can interpret feedback from a receiver and make adaptations to their message through information management in order to appear more credible and increase the bias of the receiver toward believing that they are telling the truth. So what does this mean for you in your daily interpersonal communication? These three theories reveal the complexity of deception and deception detection. Among things that need consideration is context of communication, familiarity with the sender, length of interaction, type of message communication, and the sender's communicative abilities. All of these areas can affect the success or failure of a sender in being deceptive. More importantly, all of the areas can affect how successful you are at recognizing a lie. Research has revealed that given the proper training, individuals can become slightly more accurate in recognizing falsehoods. James Finley wrote in his August 2014 thesis, Strategies for Deception by Liars and Truth Tellers, that despite all of this extensive research and various theories, no universal cue for deception detection has yet been discovered. Still, despite this lack of a universal cue, Pinocchio's nose, if you will, people continue to believe that they are adept at identifying a lie. Unfortunately, research has continually proven that the opposite is actually true. Individuals are little better than chance than detecting deception. So let's wrap this up with a quick review. Emotion-based deception detection relies on nonverbal microexpressions to determine if a sender is lying, but requires professional training. Microexpressions, truth default theory, and the Park-Levine model argue that receivers are more accurate in determining honest answers when the ratio of honesty to deception is greater due to a bias to believe that what we are told is true. And interpersonal deception theory says that the more adept a sender is and the more interactive a communication is, the less likely a receiver will distinguish deception. Lying is intricate and complex and depends on many factors. Therefore, no single detection technique can be completely successful 100% of the time. Now back to your own abilities. Do you know which statement from my introduction was false? As a baby, I was a runner-up in a beauty pageant, and Edgar Allan Poe is a third cousin twice removed. But I cannot play a single instrument. Do you still believe you can spot a lie a mile away?